Alright, I just typed out an explanation for why ANCAPs suck, and I feel like it's really good, so I want to share it. ANCAPs, or anarcho-capitalists, only want to abolish the state, allowing direct and unregulated relations between working class people and capitalists. Their ideology would not abolish class. Namely, they do not want to abolish the system of capitalism that allows capitalists to exploit working class people, one that will continue to do so with or without a state. In fact, most ANCAPs refuse to even acknowledge the role that the bourgeois, who in the US are largely capitalists, play in lobbying the state to favor their interests rather than the interests of working class people, making them, the bourgeois, the root cause of government corruption. By abolishing the state, therefore, they would only be cutting out the middleman. The true conflict exists between the bourgeois and the proletariat. The state is simply a mediator between that conflict. And while true that the state is largely betraying the interests of the people in order to favor the interests of the bourgeois, abolishing the state wouldn't address that inherent conflict. It would only get rid of what little leverage we have as working class people over capitalists through state power. Additionally, they often refuse to acknowledge the role and necessity of unions and worker strikes throughout American history to ensure workers' rights under exploitative capitalist systems, or how allowing unregulated relations between workers and capitalists has always, and will always, result in rampant worker exploitation and abuse. In order to prevent such exploitation and abuse, there must be some level of regulation imposed on capitalists and their businesses, be it from the state or from the workers themselves. However, by allowing capitalism to take its course completely unregulated by the state, like ANCAPs desire, especially during an era where union membership is pathetically low, division based on class would only become exponentially wider. Some might even compare it to the system of feudalism or factory towns, like I have before, in which there was no separation between the power of the state and the power of the bourgeois. They are simply one and the same. Don't get me wrong, I'm completely down with anarchism as a concept. However, anarchism is inherently a leftist, anti-authoritarian movement. ANCAPs, or anarcho-capitalists, are inherently right-leaning and don't seek to abolish authoritarianism at all. They just want to take the boot that they believe the government wears and hand it over to the capitalists so that they may exploit working class people directly and unopposed.